Right now, literally at this very second, somewhere in the world, a language is actively dying. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a really profound, yet somehow almost entirely invisible crisis, the rapid disappearance of human languages. We talk a lot about extinction when it comes to animals or rainforests, but there's a silent extinction happening right now within human culture itself. So in this explainer, we're going to map out exactly how this is happening, what it actually means for all of us, and why losing a single tongue is infinitely more devastating than just losing a bunch of vocabulary words.
7,000. That's the estimated number of distinct languages spoken on Earth today. I mean, it sounds like a massive number, doesn't it? This incredibly rich, vibrant tapestry of human expression. But linguists are projecting a staggering, honestly almost unthinkable reality. They estimate that roughly half of these 7,000 languages will be completely gone by the end of this century. Think about that for a second. Half of the world's entire linguistic diversity wiped out in a span of time shorter than a single human lifespan.
To put that projection into immediate perspective, a language dies, on average, every 2 weeks. Every 14 days, the very last speaker of a specific tongue passes away, and an entire universe of meaning just goes silent forever. And look, we aren't just talking about losing different ways to say hello or water. No. Each vanishing language takes with it a completely unique oral tradition, an irreplaceable literature, and this ancient system of knowledge that's been shaped by literally thousands of years of human experience.
Section 1. The scale of the crisis, a global imbalance.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the extreme, almost unbelievable inequality in how we communicate globally. Over half of the entire human population speaks just 20 languages. Just 20. The other half of the planet, well, they speak the remaining 6,980. We've somehow concentrated billions of people into this tiny handful of dominant languages, leaving thousands of other languages balancing incredibly precariously on the shoulders of very small, often marginalized communities. Because of that massive imbalance, the fragility of those remaining languages is honestly pretty terrifying. Most of those 6,980 languages are spoken by fewer than 10,000 people. And it gets even more precarious. Hundreds of them have fewer than 100 speakers left. I mean, think about how easily a language spoken by fewer than 100 people can just blink out of existence. A natural disaster, an economic shift, or even just the passing of a single generation of elders is literally all it takes to push a language from endangered straight to extinct. And linguistic diversity isn't spread evenly across the globe either. Take Papua New Guinea as the ultimate example of this. It boasts more languages than any other country in the world, over 800 distinct languages, and that's for a population of fewer than 10 million people. It is a total linguistic treasure trove, this incredibly dense web of human culture, but it also really highlights how hyperlocalized and vulnerable these smaller linguistic groups can be to outside pressures.
Section 2. The generational shift, how languages fade.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Because you might be wondering, how exactly does a language actually die? Sometimes, it happens abruptly and tragically through war, disease, or forced displacement. But the usual culprit is actually far more gradual and insidious. It happens quietly, right inside the family home, through a phenomenon called language shift. Step 1. A community begins interacting with a more dominant language, usually because it offers better economic opportunities. Makes sense, right? Then, step 2. The children in that community grow up bilingual. They use the native language at home, but the dominant language at school and work. Step 3. Those children grow up, have kids of their own, and this next generation uses the dominant language almost exclusively. So by step 4, the grandchildren might not understand their community's native tongue at all. In just 3 or 4 short generations, a language can be reduced to a handful of elderly speakers, and then, suddenly, to absolutely none.
Section 3. Erased knowledge, what we actually lose.
And this brilliantly illustrates a crucial question that really impacts all of us. When those final speakers pass on, what exactly are we losing? Well, we're losing way more than just a list of translated words. We're losing entirely unique ways of conceptualizing reality itself. Different languages actually encode completely distinct cognitive frameworks. For example, the Hopi language has no grammatical tense. Their conception of time is entirely different from how we experience it in English. Then you have the Puraha language in the Amazon. They have no precise numbers beyond 1, 2, and many, which shapes a completely unique mathematical reality. And many Australian Aboriginal languages, they don't even use body relative directions like left or right. Instead, they use absolute cardinal directions like north, south, east, and west. This means speakers inherently maintain a constant, absolute spatial awareness of their environment at all times. It's mind-blowing.
Beyond just how we think, languages are also vast, living encyclopedias. They encode highly specific ecological knowledge. I'm talking precise names for hundreds of plant and animal species, detailing their uses, their dangers, and their behaviors. This is knowledge accumulated over thousands and thousands of years of surviving in a specific ecosystem. When a language dies, that localized knowledge doesn't just automatically transfer over to English, or Spanish, or Mandarin. It simply vanishes.
Section 4. Reclaiming Lost Voices, the Science of Revival.
Okay, let's dive into this. Because this explainer isn't just about despair, all right? There is hope, and extinction isn't always a foregone conclusion. Communities around the world are fighting back, proving that when we truly value a language, we can actually save it. Let's look at the science and strategy of linguistic revival with these incredible success stories. Take Hebrew. It's probably the most remarkable example out there. Through a really deliberate, multi-generational effort, it was completely revived from a purely liturgical language used only in religious contexts to the living, breathing mother tongue of millions today. Then there's Welsh, which was stabilized through robust government policy, bilingual education, and dedicated media. The result? Over 800,000 speakers today. And down in New Zealand, the Maori language has seen a massive resurgence through what they call language nests. These are immersive early childhood environments where only Maori is spoken. It's an absolutely proven method that's producing a whole new generation of fluent speakers where previously there were barely any. So, deliberate action absolutely works.
Section 5. The Last Speakers, End of an Era.
Despite those incredible victories, the broader trend is still deeply troubling. We really need to slow down for a minute and look at the deeply intimate, emotional side of this global crisis. What does it actually look like at the very end of a language's life? Because this is the true human cost. Meet Marie Smith-Jones. She was the absolute last fluent speaker of EAC, an indigenous language from coastal Alaska. Knowing she was literally the end of the line, she spent her final years tirelessly working with linguists to document every single thing she knew. Every word, every phrase, every story. When she passed away in 2008, EAC completely stopped being a living, spoken language.
Or consider the heartbreaking story of Boa Sr., who passed away in 2010. She was the last speaker of Bo, one of the ancient languages of the Andaman Islands. I really want you to try and imagine that profound, almost unimaginable isolation. Imagine knowing that you are the absolute final voice of your entire culture. You have stories to tell, jokes to make, songs to sing, and literally no one else on the face of the planet can understand you.
So the crucial point is that Boa Sr.'s passing wasn't just the loss of one person. The Boa language is estimated to have been incredibly ancient. With her death, a continuous linguistic tradition possibly spanning a staggering 65,000 years ended forever. In an instant. Just think about that. 65 millennia of unbroken human communication, gone.
Which brings us back to the really stark macro reality we face today. 7,000 languages currently exist on Earth. If current trends continue unabated, if we don't step up to support and protect linguistic diversity, half of them will be permanently silenced by the end of this century.
Ultimately, a language is so much more than just a tool for asking where the bathroom is or buying groceries. There is a beautiful thought that captures this perfectly. A language is a way of talking, a way of thinking, a way of knowing. It's a completely unique, irreplaceable lens through which human beings have made sense of their existence. When a language goes silent, we lose something that can never be reconstructed. So it forces us to ask ourselves, as we let thousands of these unique lenses shatter over the next century, what totally irreplaceable parts of the human experience are we allowing to disappear forever?